the four of them creating great music in the studio and then going back on the road, or at least playing a one-off gig to prove they could still cut it as a live band. He was even considering a surprise rock and roll style drop-in, drop-out tour of northern dance halls. That was the fantasy he sold, and it was persuasive enough for them all to hook up at Twickenham on the second day of the year to begin sessions for a project tentatively and wistfully dubbed Get Back. They were, of course, no longer the four callow kids who first stepped onto the world stage in 1963. Lennon had found Yoko Ono, the Japanese avant-garde artist, 7 years his senior, for whom he broke up his marriage and with whom he dabbled in heroin. Harrison, having discovered a new inner confidence through Indian mysticism, was on a quest for Krishna consciousness. McCartney was enjoying the fame and acclaim that was his heart's desire. And Starr, whose childhood had been wrecked by illness, simply couldn't believe his luck at such a reversal of fortune. But the symbiosis that once touched on telepathy had been replaced by lethargy. And now here they were, 2 days into a new year, in a freezing studio they didn't know, hemmed in and tapped out, and working once again under an autocratic conductor, McCartney. As she had been during the White Album sessions, Yoko remained umbilically attached to Lennon, an awkward situation which acted like dry tinder. Harrison simply wanted to be somewhere, anywhere else. Starr had a ringside seat at the long goodbye. It was far too soon after the fractious atmosphere of the White Album to get back to the future, but no one had the courage to say out loud what needed to be said. Lennon recalled, "Paul had this idea that we were going to rehearse or... See, it was all more like Simon and Garfunkel, like looking for perfection all the time. And so he had these ideas that we'll rehearse and then make the album. And of course we're lazy fuckers, and we've been playing for 20 years, for fuck's sake. We're grown men. We're not going to sit around rehearsing. I'm not anyway. And we couldn't get into it. And we put down a few tracks and nobody was into it at all. It was a dreadful, dreadful feeling in Twickenham studio and being filmed all the time. I just wanted them to go away and we'd be there 8 in the morning. You couldn't make music at 8 in the morning or 10 or whatever it was in a strange place with people filming you and coloured lights. Lennon's heart may not have been in it from the start, but he, like all of them, had initially appeared to buy into the Get Back project, the seed for which had been planted after their first appearance before a live audience for 2 years. That had been at Twickenham too. They had showcased Hey Jude and Lennon's Revolution before the cameras for Frost on Sunday. The clips, broadcast on British TV on the 8th of September, were directed by Michael Lindsay Hogg, a talented American filmmaker whose entry into the band's orbit had come in 1966 when he oversaw the groundbreaking videos for Paperback Writer and Rain. The Hey Jude video captures McCartney smiling angelically while seated at an upright piano with the band surrounded by roughly 100 extras who were providing the audience. Looking back at the footage after 50 years, it's hard to disagree with Lennon's post-breakup assessment that he, Harrison and Starr had become McCartney's sidemen. But at the time, all four were surprisingly pleased with the result. Dennis O'Dell, head of Apple Films, said, "The Hey Jude promo is possibly more important than most fans realise. The Beatles' unexpected enjoyment at performing for the clip was to be a key factor in the new direction that they were about to take. After shooting, we ran the final edit of the tapes in the recording truck. They were absolutely delighted. Drinking a whiskey and coke with them at 4 in the morning, we agreed a good night had been had by all. In fact, they had enjoyed it so much they suggested there and then that we should make another film. I was elated. That was the start of Get Back, Let It Be." But that was then, and this was now. And Lennon, always the prime mover in the Beatles' power network, had almost no interest in going over old musical ground with McCartney especially. The creative spark that once bound them was largely gone. He was bored with the Beatles, and bored with his musical partner, who no longer stimulated him intellectually the way Yoko now did. They were different people, always had been. But they had always recognised in each other a friendly rivalry that drove the music. Now, though, they were rarely singing from the same song sheet. Lennon's dread was fuelled by more than just scorn over the music. Apple Corps, the company they had set up in 1967 as a multifaceted Beatle business, was now hemorrhaging thousands of pounds a week due to a culture of spend, spend, spend that outweighed the money coming in. By the start of 1969,
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.